So this is episode 4 of Oluswole, the podcast on the budget. I'm excited to welcome our fourth guest, a grape lover, actress, Oluswole fan. Nat, what's good?
Hi, Timmy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be on the pod. How does it feel?
I'm kind of nervous, not gonna lie. You've been doing really well. I'm really proud of you. This is great.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. We've been running up the numbers. We've been going crazy. Episode 3 just dropped today as we're recording this, so go stream that if you haven't. Yeah. And listeners have been really supportive of the movement, and hopefully we're going to take over this podcast space. We'll see how the vibes are looking like. So I want to start off with like how we met. We were in the same high school or secondary school, whatever you want to call it. We met in year 9, which is the equivalent of 8th grade. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not entirely sure if I'm right or not, but you've been living in Abu Dhabi your whole life, right?
Yeah, I was born and raised here.
Yeah, that's pretty unconventional because most people who are not from the country who live there were born in their own native place or the country their parents are from. Then they relocate to, the UAE, and then they stay there for a few years. But you've been there your entire life. So, like, how has that been like, being in the same place for almost 19 years?
So before I went to university, I think that was the main reason why I wanted to study abroad. No one in my family has ever actually studied abroad for university. So it was a big step in my family for me to decide by myself that I wanted to do that. And one of the biggest reasons was that, you've been living in the same city your whole life. You want to experience more things and meet new people, be in a new environment. I wouldn't say I got bored because I do love it here. I love it a lot. It will always be like my home away from home. But I did want to experience something new, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you. Do you feel like living in, because you're at Sheffield right now, well, you're in Abu Dhabi, but you go to school in Sheffield, which is in the UK. We'll talk about that later. We'll expand on that later. But do you feel like living in the UK has been like a movie for you, especially being someone who hasn't traveled out of the country that much?
100%. It was exactly like a movie. It was just so different, like living in the city your whole life. And then Sheffield is a city where, like, compared to Abu Dhabi, which is all so modern and everything is so new, and there it's like, it was like calming because you have so much nature around you. And then, I really enjoyed it there. Even when I go back to Jordan, I love the simplicity and, like, the countryside and the greenery. So, yeah.
Sheffield is like, I've never been out there. Is it like a suburban kind of place, just like pretty low key?
I think so. I mean, I haven't seen much of the UK, and Sheffield, I believe it's the 4th biggest city in the UK, but it felt really small when I was there. It didn't feel big, Like, I felt like I saw everything I had to, probably not, but like for the city itself, I saw everything I had to see in the few weeks that I was there. And it felt kind of so like suburby with all because it's so much hills in Sheffield. It felt like I was in the city, but I was always also in the countryside. It was like a combination of both, if I'm making any sense.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Based on how you described like the natural environment, I think it's probably pretty different from Abu Dhabi, but the suburban lifestyle seems like it was kind of similar to Abu Dhabi, because Abu Dhabi, like, if you're out there, you kind of know everyone, you kind of run into people all the time. So do you feel like that experience living in Sheffield was comparable to your Abu Dhabi experience because you have been in a close-knit environment for such a long time before even going to the UK?
I don't know. It felt like, I wouldn't say it felt like Abu Dhabi. It felt completely different. Maybe because it was all new. Yeah. Maybe if I've lived there for a long time, then I would say, similar vibes. But when I went there, no, it felt completely different.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm sure the change, like, I'm sure it must have felt completely different. But I was just trying to compare, like, the suburban lifestyle and like the close knit community, like just that aspect. I thought maybe there could be some similarity, but maybe that was a reach. So I want to move on to some of the things you're interested in. Back in school, I know acting was something that was a big deal for you. You were always involved in like productions, all that. We were actually in the same one. I was behind the scenes. We were both in Romeo and Juliet. Obviously, you were Juliet, so shout out to you. What got you into acting?
So when I was in primary school, I was around 9 years old. I participated in a school production of Sleeping Beauty, and I was Sleeping Beauty, and I really, really enjoyed that. I was really young, so I feel like when you're young, you do get involved in things like this. But then when I moved to Brighton for school, it was my first week, and I was in Mr. Daniels' form, which is the drama teacher. And there were posters around school like, oh, auditions this Thursday. I was like, oh my God, like the school offers us so many opportunities. I have to give it a shot, even though it was like my third day at Brighton. And then I went up to him, like to Mr. Daniels, without him thinking. And I was like, oh, I really want to audition. Like, I don't know why when I joined Brighton, I was like, I'm just going to take every opportunity offered to me. I'm not going to say no. Because at my old school, we didn't have as many opportunities as Brighton offered. And I went to the audition. I still didn't really have any friends. And I auditioned. And I was given like an extra role, like a small role. But it started off from there. I was learning from like the more experienced actors. And I really enjoyed it. Like, it was something I didn't actually know I was passionate about. But I really, really enjoyed it. And I kept it a promise that I'm just going to keep doing this. Like any production that's offered, I'm going to keep auditioning, keep joining, keep learning. And hopefully one day get a more, a bigger role. And thankfully I did at one point. And it was, till now, one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Which production was that?
It was A Midsummer Night's Dream.
That was in your night?
Yeah. I was a fairy.
Oh, yeah, that was your night. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
I remember that. I don't remember you being in that, but I remember the production itself.
It's okay. I didn't have a single line. I was just being a fairy.
Yeah. Started from the bottom, now you're here. That's pretty dope. Cool success story. You said that. I'm obviously not an actor myself, but I did a lot of like onstage performances through being a violinist. You did a lot of onstage performances being an actress. Do you feel like stage fright was an obstacle you had to overcome when you were, on stage, or did your fears kind of dissipate when you were on stage and you didn't have any kind of problems? Did it just come naturally to you?
When I was growing up, I was really close with my music teacher in primary school, and she was like, I feel like you can sing, and she would like put me in all these choirs and give me solos, and I would always perform while I was younger. But then I stopped for like a good 4 or 5 years. I didn't go on stage once. And then with acting, I didn't actually get stage fright when it came to acting, but I still did when it came to singing. But with acting, I feel like because I don't know what it was. I always tried to analyze this myself. Like, why do I get scared when I'm gonna sing, but not when I'm gonna act? And I feel like acting, you're in a production, so you're with a lot of people and you're all doing the same thing. I don't remember obviously you get nervous. Like, what if I sneeze when I have a death scene? Like, I'm lying dead and then I cough or I sneeze, or what if I forget a line? But when it actually came to acting, when I was actually on stage, I didn't actually feel anything. It was just, I'm so excited. Like, I really want to show them what I've been rehearsing for months now. So, yeah.
Yeah, ice water in your veins. So you think the reason why it was easier to act instead of sing is because like you're surrounded by other people and like a lot of things were going on stage during a production, whereas singing is just you, the mic, and everyone listening to every inflection in your voice?
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. Like even when I was doing Romeo and Juliet, it was a musical, and I did have a lot of singing scenes. I wasn't as, maybe it's because when it's gonna sound funny, but when you're acting, you're not you're not like I'm not Natalie when I'm on stage. I'm someone else. I'm playing a role. So maybe it's that like I don't know, like that I just disconnect from myself and I'm playing this role and I have to imagine myself in this person's shoes and while I'm on stage I'm in this new world. Maybe that's like a psychological effect too. I don't know.
Out of body
Does that sound
experience.
funny? Maybe.
uh, it's a cool response. Since you already brought up the topic of singing, I wanted to transition to that. And just like acting, did a lot of singing on stage. Saw you in house concerts, performances, all that. And it seems like based on the description you gave earlier, it seems like singing is something you started when you were pretty young as well. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask, like, is that something you're planning to do, like, on a higher level, like in college or something like that? Like, join a singing group, or is that just something like you do as a hobby?
No, just a hobby. Just something I do in my room with
Mhm.
singing. Acting definitely. Like when COVID settles down, I definitely want to get involved in acting at university, but not singing, no.
Would you be one of those like theater kids that do all those quirky skits every weekend?
Yeah, theater kids.
Yeah, could never be me, but it's cool to watch because I mean, those kids. I mean, they're passionate about their craft and they're good at what they do. So that's why they're out there. That's why they've been chosen to do that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Is there a certain acting moment that has been like particularly memorable to you over your last few years as an actress? One that stands out the most?
Mm, honestly, I keep mentioning it, but it was probably Romeo and Juliet. Like, do you mean like a particular scene or just in general?
I'm at a moment, so it could be a scene, it could be a moment with the cast off stage, anything.
A moment I would say, oh, actually, a moment I would say was my last production during the bow sequence. Um, an out of body experience, as you said it, like your last bow on that stage that you've been on for the past like 5 years, your last production. I would say that moment really, I felt it basically. Like, it was like saying goodbye to the theater, stage, and every time I like finished a production, I felt like the how do I phrase this? Like when people come up to you and say, "Oh my God, you were amazing," blah blah blah, like you really portrayed that character in this way. I just love that feedback as well. I feel like that was really exhilarating, like getting all that feedback from people who actually like care about theater or like are fans of Shakespeare or like English literature teachers that would come up to me. It was like, it was like an honor to hear that from them. So I would say there are a lot of experiences that I've had, but definitely the last bow was definitely something that stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine like something that you put so much effort in over so many years, and then it all comes to the end like that, and you didn't know how that year was going to end as well. So, I mean, it makes it even more memorable. And I think the best part, I want to see what you think about this, but like the reason why I signed up to do Romeo and Juliet and to be part of the backstage crew is because I knew I couldn't act, but at the same time, I like the idea of just being part of a cast and creating a project, or not creating a project, but working on a project with a group of people. Um, is there anything particular about teamwork that you learned in those acting productions you've been involved in that you're going to take with you throughout life, or any other memorable life
Um,
lesson?
a memorable life lesson. I felt like during our productions at school, like especially when I was given a role with no lines, for example, like when I first started, I felt like remember Mr. Daniels would call us an ensemble? You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
So no one like
Huh?
no one no one really like I didn't feel like I had a small role in this play, you know? Like we were
Wait,
all
wait, wait, wait,
one.
wait. In Romeo and Juliet?
No, no, in general, like
Okay.
when I was given small roles, like even when I was Juliet, I didn't feel like, oh, I was the main character. No one was like, how do I say it? We all worked together. Like even Mr. Dance would say, like, without this character, the show wouldn't exist. Like the small character, I felt like we all worked together. No one thought they were better than the other. We all learned from each other, whether it's like whether it's acting or taking constructive criticism from someone. Like I was never someone that was able to handle criticism, until I reached because I really didn't have any like when I was had no lines. Like what are you gonna criticize me about, But then when I was Juliet, I did get a lot of constructive criticism, and it hurt at the start. Like it really hurt. I was like, what if like I don't deserve this? Like what if I'm not good enough? And you learn how to take that without feeling bad. You just learn from each other. And you're all a team. It's an ensemble. Does that answer your question? Am I
Yeah, I
rambling?
think. No, 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 no. It was a good response. Very wholesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. So earlier on in the episode, you kind of mentioned that once COVID dies down, you want to be doing some more acting stuff, transitioning away from acting and transitioning towards COVID. I'm not trying to make this the COVID-19 podcast because I know we bring up COVID on this podcast quite a bit, but it's something that has affected everyone in a different kind of way. So I feel like everyone can give an insightful opinion on that. So that's why I keep bringing it up. I wanted to ask, because for context, you can't really enter the country. You go to school in the UK, you can't really enter the country. You're meant to be in college, where you're just doing college on Zoom, which is tough. So what's one certain activity that you're trying to do with your boys in college once you are finally able to get into the country again?
Oh, like something we'll do together when I'm back with my uni friends?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Probably
Yeah.
cook together. I really want to cook with them.
Oh, you cook?
We never got to do that. Yeah, I cook.
I mean, does pasta count?
there,
I mean, it's just.
I knew you were talking about me when you were interviewing Lotfi. I knew it. When you
honestly,
were talking about how Lotfi's such a great cook and the others just post their pasta or whatever. It's because this is for the viewers. This one time, Timmy was texting me and I was like, 1 second, Timmy, I'm cooking. And then I posted a photo of like really basic pasta and he was like, yeah, you're cooking. But I do actually cook. The pasta is just for the lazy days. But yeah, I really want to, be reunited with my uni friends and we all cook like a dinner together and dessert and stuff. I don't do that. Or go like adventuring in Sheffield because when I was there, everything was closed. So I want to see more of it, like more of the greenery and everything.
Honestly, that the shot I made at people at the UK uni students who were making pasta every day, I wasn't even thinking about you. I was just thinking about you guys as a collective. Because,
okay.
I mean, you guys it's just pasta every day, just take photos of it. Look at me, I'm adulting. I'm making pasta. Woohoo. Like, yeah, that's cool. But, I mean, Lofty was wiping the floor with you guys when it came to cooking.
Yeah, but Lofty would spend like 3 hours cooking. You don't have that time at university. My meals took 30 minutes max.
If there's a will, there's a way. That's why I tell people, there's a will, there's a way.
All right.
And clearly there was no will. Adventuring though, that's an interesting thing you brought up. I mean, what is there to do in Sheffield outside of like looking at nature?
I want to look at what's wrong with looking at nature. That's an adventure. Like we have. Oh, you mean like other activities?
Yeah, because you already talked about that. So I just want to say, like, is there anything else that you would do if you're out there?
To be fair, I feel like I don't really know much about what certain activities you can do at Sheffield because when I was there, everything was closed. But even if, I see like a lot of my friends, they like go, they like, what's the word? They go like, they climb rocks and stuff. or they go on hikes and stuff. I don't know, just a bunch of things that I don't feel like I was given the opportunity to do. Like we have this area called the Peak District, and you go all the way up a hill and you can see the whole city. That was something on my bucket list that I didn't get to do while I was there.
Okay, that's cool. Sounds pretty adventurous. I wanted to transition to like what you're studying, because we've been talking about Sheffield, we've been talking about living in the UK. We talked about your experiences as an actress. Wanted to talk about you're doing your psychology major, right? Yeah. Why did you get into psychology?
That's a good question. I feel like growing up, I've struggled with some mental health issues, and people really close to me struggled on a more severe level, and I was always interested into understanding why they do and what's the solution. Like, if you're diagnosed with severe depression, do you have to live with that your entire life, or how can you help someone like that? And I would do a lot of my own research. How can I help this person who's suffering with generalized anxiety or PTSD or depression or all of that stuff? And I feel like in the Middle East, there's kind of a taboo about the whole mental health psychology aspect, and that was something I wasn't really happy about. I didn't understand why, and I'd always compare it to the Western region and how much they care and focus on mental health. We didn't really have that. Like, for example, in Jordan, we don't really have that here as well. I remember when I was trying to do my work experience in a psychology field, there wasn't much to find or go into. Not a lot of opportunities, basically. But I feel like the main aspect was, as cliche as it sounds, to be able to help people. I feel like that's why people go into a lot of fields as well. Like, if you want to become a doctor, you want to save people's lives. If you go into entertainment, you want to make people happy, for example. So I feel like that was the biggest aspect, definitely.
Okay. Pretty insightful response. So you wanted to come in there, change the game, change the culture. Sounds cool. And yeah, mental health is obviously something that's pretty important. It's hard to, mental health is, as important as physical health. You got to keep that in check. So it's cool that, you saw a problem, identified it, and you were like, hey, I'm going to try to change that. Is there anything do you feel like, because I remember in school, right? I mean, I didn't take psychology in high school, so we weren't in the same class for that, but we were in the same science class from 8th grade to 10th grade, so you're 9th to 11th.
Yeah.
I remember biology, that was something that was of interest to you. Is that something you're trying to intertwine with psychology at all, or is it just psychology or bust?
No, definitely. I mean, one of my modules is neuroscience and clinical psychology, and that biology is a major aspect when it comes to that. You learn about the brain and synaptic transmission and all of those things that we learned about in biology, and it's nice to be able to relate that to rather than just theories that you apply to everyday life or research that has been done, but you can't prove research. But when it comes to biology, you can. So I'm very interested in that. I love learning about the way that dopamine in your brain affects your mood, for example. All these biological factors, it's very, very interesting to relate that to psychology. So yeah, definitely.
That's dope. Jumping back to kind of off the cuff extracurriculars, I remember you were talking about how when you were on stage acting, you had the ice water in your veins. You didn't really feel nervous when you were doing all that. But I remember, but part of the reason why is because you were in a team. There were a lot of things that were going on, so there wasn't really any reason for you to be nervous. I remember, you're not a sporty person, obviously, but I remember you had a stint with the soccer team slash football team. I think the word football
Wow,
makes
how
more
do you
sense.
even
But
remember that? Yeah, I did.
I mean, I come prepared, so I had to show out. I had to do my research. Um, why did you get on the soccer team? Like, what was the reason for that? I'm just wondering.
Um, um, yeah, so I'm not a sporty person at all. I've never had experience with sport or anything. But as I said, when I joined Brighton, I wanted to take every opportunity I could. As I was this little 13, 14-year-old, and I was like, all these things being thrown at me, it would be a waste to not experience. I even did debating. I don't do that. But
Oh
yeah, I
yeah.
just tried a bunch of things. And so yeah, I don't know, I can't even remember why I decided to join it, but I did love it. I was horrible at it. I did enjoy it. All these, like, there were all these popular sporty girls who would make fun of me, but I didn't care. It was fun. I scored a penalty once.
Talk soon. Talk soon. Um, but linking to the acting thing, were you ever nervous when you're on the pitch? Like, did you feel? Because as someone who's not good at sports myself, I feel like I never felt pressure or anything like that. I never felt nervous because it was always a pretty relaxed environment. But it's just that when they pass, because they don't pass the ball to you if you're trash, right? So if they pass the ball to you, you feel like you have to do something good with the ball, and if you don't do something good with it, it's a waste of possession, and then they're never gonna pass to you again, and you're just gonna be running up and down the court, or running up and down the field mindlessly without touching the ball. Like, do you feel like you felt not pressure, but like an expectation to like do something well whenever they pass you or anything like that?
Of course, of course I did. And I would try to, but sometimes I'd run in to kick the ball and then I kick the air and I miss it, and there are girls screaming at me. But um, I'm just trying to remember like how I felt back then because I don't really remember much of it. But yeah, obviously I was nervous. Like I'm not so bad at this, blah blah blah. But it was like I'm trying something new and I can learn, so why not? That was my mentality back then. I think
Get involved. Yeah,
get involved.
get involved. Of course. I was thinking that I could ask you about routine because I feel like that's something, especially in an online kind of environment, you have to hold yourself accountable. You're doing everything on your own. You kind of have to hold that down. Is there anything that you do that keeps you in check and in a good routine on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I feel like there was a point in the past few months where I was really upset about not being able to go back to Sheffield for university. And I felt like I was living the same day every day. You wake up, you study, you spend a little bit of time with your family, you see your friends, then you go back to sleep, and then the same day repeats itself. And I felt like that really affected me. I was like, this is so boring.
Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, basically. I was like, this is so boring. Like, I want to go back to university so badly. And I was so upset and I was making myself upset. And I was like, I was losing motivation to do with like my uni work and stuff. I was like, why am I not enjoying this as much as I was a few months ago? And then I got a little part-time job in the morning and I go to like help this kid with school. So that forced me to wake up really early. I would wake up at 7 a.m. every day, and that was like a big thing because I felt like because I felt like I was living the same day over again. I didn't really want to get out of bed early in the morning. Like a lot of people say, like people who sleep late, they want to escape their duties the next morning, so they like that a little alone time. And I felt like that also related to my mornings. I didn't feel like there was use of waking up because if I wake up now, I'm just gonna have to study, and that will just carry on for the whole day. So I felt like definitely fixing my sleep schedule has affected me a lot. Also in my mental health a lot because I've been more productive. I don't know if you know this, Tammy, but I got my driver's license.
Oh, you did? Oh,
So
you drive?
yeah, I did. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
really? That's pretty cool.
So
Congrats.
I've been trying to wake up early, go to a coffee shop, work, ask friends to come work with me, go to the gym in the morning. I've been trying to incorporate things in the morning so that I feel like my day didn't just consist of schoolwork and that's it, because you would get bored of that, you know. I've been just trying to do things here and there, especially in the mornings, just to change it up a little bit, and that has definitely helped a lot, I would say.
Word. For me personally, like, yeah, waking up early in the morning is cool. I see the benefits of that for sure, but it's just that it can be hard, bro, because especially in college,
Of course.
you're sleeping a bit later, and I do like sleeping well, so it's just, do I wake up at 7 to get like 5 hours of sleep, or wake up at like 9
Oh no,
to
I
get
don't
a bit
wake
more
up
hours?
at 7 anymore.
Oh,
I wake up at like 9, 10. I
I'll
had to
see.
wake up at 7 when I was helping the kid with school, but when that ended, I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared to ruin my sleep schedule again and go back into that really annoying cycle. So I would like book early, like fitness class appointments or to see a friend in the morning to go study. I would try to like wake up in the morning, basically, not in the afternoon. That's what.
yeah, I got you. I feel like, yeah, once you wake up when there's some daylight outside, like you feel like you get more done instead of just, instead of just watching Netflix in your bed, like, you're actually doing something productive. So that's good. You mentioned driving, and like, I had no idea you could drive. It's not as if I see that on your stories all the time, because I mean, people get their license,
Oh,
right?
wow.
I'm not whipping yet, but when people get their license, next thing I see from people in general is just a snap of them in the driver's seat, like on an empty road, like at a red light, just like posting that on their story. And I'm like, oh wow, you can drive? Like, it's just kind of a flex.
Yeah.
What'd you
Why
say?
not flex it? It's a big step in your adulthood journey. It's great to be
I
able
guess.
to drive.
I mean, yeah, it's cool.
Once you get your driver's license, I'm sure you'll announce it to some people.
I probably won't announce it like the way everyone else does, because like why blend in when you can stand out? That's just kind of that's not how I roll. I don't want to follow the mainstream way of doing
Okay,
things. Yeah,
got
that's just
it.
not
Could be way worse. I could be lip syncing to music while I drive. I don't do that.
really. That's something I would do.
And
Why not?
record yourself and post it?
Oh, not record myself and post it. But like when I'm in the car, I mean, yeah, I play music.
Obviously. Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like getting my driver's license was one of the main things that helped me get out of that like sad cycle that I was in because I'm not able to go back to university. I like, something exciting, something new, a new
Yeah,
experience, more freedom.
yeah. Go wherever you want. Um, you want to move on to the Oluswole Bowl, which is the part of the podcast where we ask you some off-the-cuff questions. Some of them might be related to what we were talking about, and some of them might not be related to what we were talking about. So we'll keep you guessing. 3 most influential people to you, and why?
Oh my goodness. Do they have to be famous?
No, just influential people. Could be whoever.
Hmm. That's a really good question. Let me think. Okay, I'd start off by saying my parents, as also as cliche as that sounds, they're definitely the biggest influence in my life. My support system. I learn a lot from them on a day-to-day basis. I would say it's like a very influential, famous person is Malala. We used to watch all her like interviews and everything. Someone coming from a minority group and preaching women empowerment and all of that. I really enjoy. I love listening to her speak. But yeah, I mean, I don't really like, I feel like if you ask someone else, they'd immediately give you an answer. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are influential in their own ways, and you learn from everyone.
Hmm. That's a very diplomatic response, but it's kind of a hard question because I
It
mean,
is a hard question. You really put me under the spot there.
yeah, Oluswole ball. We got to keep you guys guessing. We got to make sure that we don't know what you're gonna be asked, and it makes for good responses. Top three TV sitcoms.
Top three TV what, sorry?
Sitcoms.
Like any TV show?
Yeah.
Friends, number one. About the answer was Friends. Gilmore Girls. I enjoyed that a lot.
Who?
Gilmore Girls.
Oh,
You-
never heard of it, but
Um,
maybe it's popular and I just don't know about it.
I just like comfort shows, And I would say another one would be. I actually just finished a TV show called Behind Her Eyes, and I really enjoyed that. It's very different to what I usually watch.
What's the genre?
It was like ominous, psychological, mystery.
Riverdale type beat.
No, I didn't watch that, but no.
I dabbled into Riverdale a little bit when I was probably
You?
17, because I heard good things about it. I think I watched the first season, and it was
Cannot imagine you watching Riverdale.
it was like, I mean, it was decent, but it wasn't amazing. It wasn't captivating enough for me to continue watching it. But yeah, why not? Like, what's wrong with me watching Riverdale?
Prison Break. I loved Prison Break.
Oh
That
yeah,
was really good. Have you watched Prison Break?
no, I've just heard good things about
Oh.
it. I don't watch a lot of
Okay.
shows. Yeah.
No, me either. Well, when I'm bored, I do, but it's usually like something comfort. Like Friends, I always go back to. I've probably watched Friends more than 10 times because it's just my comfort show. You don't really
I
have
didn't-
to focus.
Yeah, I get you. Friends, I mean, that's gonna be a popular, top show by a lot of people. I don't watch the show, but I either hear Friends is overrated or Friends is pretty funny. So like, what do you say to those
Nah, I
people
don't think-
who sleep on the show?
No, I don't think it. I remember someone telling me How I Met Your Mother is better than Friends, so you should watch that. And I started, it was so bad. So no, I don't think Friends is overrated at all. I think it's amazing, honestly.
Yeah, goated show, I guess. I think that wraps up today's episode of Oluswole. Thank you now for coming on the pod. We appreciate you being
Thanks for
here.
having me. I'm so honored. I hope I was okay.
Now you were great, yeah. Oluswole is available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And if you're watching this on YouTube, our socials are linked in the description. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.